What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. Grand risings to all of you who are watching and listening. And also a big shout out to the new subscribers to this channel and to my other channel, Jedi Africa. Quick reminder, if you're not already subscribed over on Jedi Africa, do go over and subscribe to Jedi Africa. The thumbnail for the channel is a picture of me. And also don't forget to thumbs up the video, everybody. Remember, on this channel, I'm shadow banned and all of that. So your thumbs up matters. That's how we get the algorithm. That's how we get seen. So I always tell you, this is not my channel. I'm just the channel host. This is our channel. And so we all want to grow. So make sure that we all thumbs up the video. And constantly check back for your subscriptions. Make sure you've not been unsubscribed by these devils. I'm doing this just as a quick piece because this really makes me feel good. You know, we talk about, I always say there are no good white people, and I maintain that. There are no good ones. And another mainstay that I always proclaim to you is that there are no good police because they don't allow it. So you could think you want to become a police officer, and there are those who have, because they wanted to do right and they wanted to help people and they wanted to make a change. But the moment you become a part of any of these police organizations across this asshole of the devil known as America, you find out very quickly that they don't allow that. I've done many videos and we've all seen many stories of a would-be good officer who does the right thing about something, and then they're harassed, they're threatened, they send them into bad areas and set them up to be shot. They leave dead rats on their cars. I mean, we've seen the gamut of it. So there are no good police because they don't allow it. And there are no good white people. But there can be appropriate acts of good by white people. And even then, we don't give them the credit. We see that as a direct intervention from the divine who created us all. That's where we give the credit. That's where we give the credit. Because the divine, at his own choosing, can make your enemy your footstool. And indeed, have your enemy serve you and bowing to you. I've experienced it in my own life. So that is not a fictional thing for me. And so this is what I assign this to be. But we need more judges like this who don't align themselves with prosecutors and police, but they maintain what their appointment to the bench is supposed to be. They are supposed to be stewards of the law, and they're supposed to be purposeful dispensers of the law to see that the law is what is carried over and not racist bullshit. This was somewhere in Texas, as I understand. And you had a young brother who was the victim of this bullshit we see from police, where when they show up, they try and take over the entire fucking zip code. You know, something's happening and they want you to move, 2 states away, or else you're interfering and all of it. I'm sick and tired of it. And usually that's so they can do their evil. They want you back and away, you see. But sadly, no one ever intervenes where they should be intervening. I cite for you the murder, the public lynching even, of George Floyd and others. But George Floyd, where you had a group of people standing on the sidewalk and some of them were filming, but nobody made an attempt to strike on these murderers. We cannot be confused by their Halloween costume. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Murder is murder. Had I been on that sidewalk and I see George Floyd begging for his life, I'm going to act. Because the white man's law is not the law of me. The law of the Creator is my law. That is the only law that I am bound to adhere to. Everything else is optional. Do you understand? So, what makes this perfect is we've seen so many cases where our people get snagged up for something really minor, and then that's enough to bring them into this incarceration system for life. You know, it's like they want to put a rope around the neck of every African person in here. They want you to have some kind of probation or some kind of record, or either actually be incarcerated or something, you know. They want that. They want that. That's why they're so quick to ask for your ID when they see you. You know, like, I'm really sick and tired of it. And I remind us all that none of this goes on in Africa. None of it. This only takes place where white people exist. You understand? That's where you find injustice and unfairness as a norm in the society, is wherever they reside. So here are the parameters of this now, and we'll talk a little bit about it and we'll be over.
Good morning, Mr. McLean. So you're charged with interference with the duties of a public servant. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Just a second. Hear the charge again now. He says, good morning, Mr. McLean.
Morning, Mr. McLean. So you're charged with interference with the duties of a public.
He's charged with the interference of the duties of a public servant. Go on.
Servant. You're facing up to 6 months in jail.
Up to 6 months in jail.
And or a $2,000 fine.
And or a $2,000 fine.
We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you.
Now, watch how masterful this is. Go.
Yes, sir.
I'll shut up the first time through and then we'll discuss.
Officer initiated a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas, after observing the defendant exceed a speed limit of 45 miles per hour and make unsafe lane changes. The defendant did not have his driver's license, but told the officer his name and date of birth. While the officer was running the defendant's name, he observed the defendant exit his vehicle, and the officer told the defendant to get back inside the vehicle. And the defendant responded, "Do I have to?" The officer exited the vehicle and attempted to detain the defendant. The defendant tensed up and locked his arms.
Everything is conclusory. What has he done wrong? What?
It was the initial lane changes, unsafe lane changes, and the exceeding the speed limit that prompted to stop. And then at that point, he was just
Stop. How exceeding speed limit? How fast was he going? I mean,
I spoke to the officer this morning, who told me that he was pacing the defendant at 54 miles.
okay. In a what?
I'm sorry?
In a what? I mean, if it's on 610, he's fine, right? And then he's interference duties. What is he interfering with? What did he do wrong?
I think it was after the stop was initiated, the officer was running the plates. The defendant stepped out of his vehicle. The officer told him to get back in the vehicle. The defendant said, "Do I have to?" The officer told me that.
And that's the basis of arrest?
Can
I speak, please?
Don't. Are you losing?
No, sir.
Okay.
And Your Honor, furthermore, as he was attempting to detain him, he locked his arms and tensed up. So as he was attempting to detain him, following that incident of him telling him to get back in the vehicle. And it was
What's
that,
the basis for arrest?
it was just a temporary
Walking black?
detention. He was just attempting to detain him while he was trying to
What's he
investigate.
doing wrong?
He had
What's he doing wrong?
65.
No,
It was-
I don't think so. We can find no probable cause. No, it's just, he gets out of the car and then it just the virtue of fact him getting out in the car is interfering with the duties. Really? No, just when you get into, just be careful out there, man.
Yes, sir.
Life is hard as it is.
Sir.
When you get into, gotta be careful, man.
Yes, sir.
People are always out to get you. Be nice. It's not hard.
I was
Things
being
will go well for you.
Too.
Look, I got it. I'm with you, okay? Just hang tight with me for a second, okay? All right.
The judge threw out the case, and the video of Judge Fleischer admonishing prosecutors and showing compassion to Mr. McClain has gone viral. And it's just one of several cases the judge has memorably thrown out because police and prosecutors disregarded a defendant's constitutional rights.
Now, that was so perfect, man. And so easy. And it would happen every single time if you lived in a society where righteousness was recognized and cherished above all. But that's not where you live. You live in a society where untruth is paramount. Evil reigns. And demonic intention from these devils. This was so perfect. And what the undertone is here is, well, this nigger didn't do what we told him. That's what my black ears hear. That's what they hear. That's what my ears hear. As the judge says, what did he do wrong? What did he do wrong? And they go back through it. Well, he tensed up his arms and he did. Okay, what did he do wrong? What happened? And interesting, they have the words coming up on the screen, but when the judge says, what's he doing? Driving while black? That didn't come up on the screen. So another devil in operation. You see devils denying brother his rights, devils covering while making video. You understand? I mean, it's just the collusion of this demon. The collusion of this demon. The collusion. So we'll just walk through it again now. So he's reading him his rights.
Attorney present, if you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes, sir.
Now, then we get into the vomit.
An officer initiated a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas, after observing the defendant exceed a speed limit of 40.
Exceed a speeding limit of 45
miles per hour and make unsafe lane changes. The defendant did not have his driver's license, but told the officer his name and date of birth. While the officer was running the defendant's name, he observed the defendant exit his vehicle, and the officer told the defendant to get back inside the vehicle. And the defendant responded, "Do I have to?" The officer exited the vehicle and attempted to detain the defendant. The defendant tensed up and locked his arms.
You see, which is natural for any human being. Because newsflash, being handcuffed behind your back is not a natural thing for any human being.
Everything is conclusory. What has he done wrong?
You're right.
What?
It was the initial lane changes, unsafe lane changes, and the exceeding the speed limit that prompted the stop. And then at that point, he was just
Stop.
I also want to point out here too, just you see how he raised his hand there, and then later he raised his hand again. This is the unintellectual, pervasive lack of self-discipline that is pervasive among black people. This is when you tell somebody has no communication skills, no intellect, they're not critical thinkers, nothing's happening upstairs. If you're ever in a conversation with another black person, they're saying that you're talking too much or you're taking up all the time, that means they're not listening, and it's just they don't understand that the way a conversation goes is I say everything that I'm trying to say on my side, then you say your shit, or vice versa. That like there's a stopwatch running or some shit. You see? And usually, particularly in a case, to highlight what I'm trying to make in this case here, he's got some dumb little detail that he wants to tell. Instead of listening to what's happening in the courtroom and understanding that there's no disadvantage to him right here. He's not even observing the response of the judge. So no matter what you have to say, shut the fuck up. You're not losing right now. What are you going to add that's not going to be important? I had to say that because I hate that. And I run across that a lot. And I know that to be pervasive amongst black people. And I'm sick and tired of it. Sick and tired of it. Sick and tired of it. That and people repeating the same thing 50 times because they don't got shit else that they can even intellectualize or come up with to say about anything. So they just repeat one line the entire time. My God. Let's go on.
Lane changes, unsafe lane changes, and exceeding the speed limit that prompted to stop. And then at that point, he was just
Stop. How exceeding speed limit? How fast was he going? I mean,
I spoke to the officer this morning, who told me that he was pacing the defendant at 54 miles.
54 miles an hour in a 45, everybody. 54 miles an hour in a 45. That's not speeding.
okay, in a what?
I'm sorry?
In a what?
He's saying in a what? Like in a what? Because maybe you didn't hear that it's a 45.
I mean, if it's on 610, he's fine, right? And then he's interference duties. What is he interfering with? What did he do wrong?
I think it was after the stop was initiated, the officer was running the plates. The defendant stepped out of his vehicle. The officer told him to get back in the vehicle. The defendant said, "Do I have to?" The officer told me that.
And that's the basis of arrest?
I love it. And I love his whole body language, like he's just so like dumbfounded and can't believe it. That's totally the appropriate reaction that is needed. Like, are you serious? You know, we need that.
The defendant stepped out of his vehicle. The officer told him to get back in the vehicle. The defendant said, "Do I have to?" The officer told me that.
And that's the basis of arrest?
That is classic. And you hear there's crickets from their side when he's saying that's the basis for arrest. And we assume this is the prosecutor speaking because she's the one saying, I spoke with the officer told me, and they'll told me, and this and the third. You see? So fuck all prosecutors and the bitch that gave birth to all of them, because the prosecutor should have stopped this at the door and said, I'm not gonna bring that charge. Like, I'm not gonna uphold this arrest. Like, this is some bullshit. You see? But police and prosecutors try to be all lovey-dovey with each other. And it's a clique. You know, it's a club, it's a cult, it's a cabal, whatever you want to call it. They're hugged up with each other. So she dares to come into court and waste the court's time. And if I was the judge, I would sanction her ass. You understand? Hold her in contempt of court for wasting the court's time. Because that's what this is. It is a waste of the court's time. He shouldn't be there. You want to ticket him for speeding? Fine. Or unsafe lane change? Fine. Ticket him. That's fine. But arrest him for just getting out of his car? And then you can tell they're trying to throw the book at him, because not just getting out of the car, but then he dared to tense up while being handcuffed. Not that he pulled out a weapon, he struck the officer, he stabbed the officer, he shot the officer. No, none of that, all those wonderful things that we wish would have happened. No, none of that. He simply, wait for it, he tensed up everybody. Or that's it, throw the book at him. Right there. Right there. Right there. I didn't see it before, but now I get it. Yeah, throw the book at him. Yeah. How dare he tense up in a natural human reaction? How dare? Urgh.
That's the basis of arrest?
Like, bitch, are you serious? Contempt of court. Fine the bitch $5,000.
See how
Can I speak, please?
No, shut the fuck up.
Don't. Are you losing?
No, sir.
Okay.
And Your Honor, furthermore, as he was attempting
And, Your Honor, furthermore,
to detain him, he locked.
as he attempted to detain him, he locked his arms. Oh, well, now I get it. Oh, well, that's okay. Fine, counsel. You're totally right. Then we'll throw the book at him. I'll give him 15 years for locking his arms up. I mean, how dare? You see, we got to show these niggas. We got to bring them to heel, as Sniper Fire said. We got to bring them to heel. Remember the whore said that.
His arms and tensed up. So as he was attempting to
And tensed up. So that's double. He locked his arms and he tensed up. All right, that's another 5 years. All right, what else? And he attempted what?
detain
Oh, as they
him,
were attempting to detain him.
following that incident of him telling to get back in the vehicle. And it was
That's
that
the basis for arrest.
it was
Crickets again. Crickets.
he was just a temporary
Black?
he was just attempting to detain.
It was just temporary detention. Now they're trying to change it to a temporary detention, but that's not what the judge is being adjudicating. You're making that up now as he's showing you what a dumbass you are, because you expected the judge to go along with it, like that whore slut ass prosecutor who's sleeping with the entire fucking precinct, no doubt. You see, so they're dumbfounded that the judge is not going along with their vomit. That's why it's crickets when he asks them, well, what did he do wrong? Why was he arrested? All we get from that side is crickets. Crickets. Wow. Then you're going to say, oh, it was a temporary detention. So then why are you adding that as trying to make that part of it as to justify the arrest? If now it meant nothing, and you're claiming now it wasn't an arrest. And by the way, I'd like to know, was he Mirandized? I'd like to know that.
Vehicle. And it was that
That's the basis for arrest.
it was
Crickets.
he was just a temporary
Black?
he was just attempting to detain him while he was trying to
What's he
investigate.
doing wrong?
He had
What's he doing wrong?
65.
No, I don't think so.
It was an attempt to detain him while he was investigating. You can't just run the computer and he has to be detained. I mean, again, dude, wallahi, I'm just looking for the day, because we got black police chiefs all across this country. We find out every time something happens, and they go, Chief so-and-so, we look, we're like, wait, it's a fucking black person. But all of the white evil continues. All of the white evil continues under their Christian black asses, their slave asses. You understand? Because what should be happening is the only reason why our people should go into law enforcement is to do unto them that which they are doing unto us. It's the only reason. It's the only reason.
That's the basis for arrest.
It was just a temporary
Black?
he was just attempting.
See, they didn't translate that part. Those words didn't come up on the screen.
He was just a temporary
Black?
See there? They didn't put that up there.
he was just attempting to detain him while he was trying to
What's he
investigate.
doing wrong? What's he doing wrong?
65.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not sure what that 65 was about. The words were going too fast.
Wrong.
65.
No. Let's try and hear that.
Tensed up. So as he was attempting to detain him, following that incident of him telling to get back in the vehicle. And it was that
That's the basis for arrest.
it was just a temporary
Black?
he was just attempting to detain him while he was trying to
What's he doing
investigate.
wrong? What's he doing wrong?
65.
Now he's trying to say the speed was 65. Went from 54 to 65. But again, the judge maintains, well, what did he do wrong, though? Still what? In other words, that we would have just ticketed him for a traffic infraction and been over it. Why is he arrested? He's doing 65. Judge like, no.
No, I don't think so.
Like, not here. Not right here.
You find no probable cause.
I find no probable cause. No.
No, it's just he gets out of the car, and then it just the virtue of fact him getting out in the car is interfering with the duties.
And they pull this shit round the clock, 24/7 across this nation. Just abusing powers and shit. And I remind you, none of these lard asses has a law degree, everybody. None of them has a law degree. Ironically, most of your lawmakers, your people over Capitol Hill, your not just even them, but your newscasters, anchor people and all that stuff, law degrees are all over the place. And yet the very people that are supposed to be the first contact for the public with the whole legal system have no fucking idea what the law is at any given moment of the day at fucking all. Ask yourself why you don't need to have a law degree to be a lard ass donut eating fucking demon ass police officer. Ask yourself that. And if you just can't get there, tell me how quickly you're going to buy your airline ticket when you learn that pilots don't have to have a pilot license. Huh? Think you'd love that? Is that fine? Oh, it's all fine. No, I don't want my pilot to have a pilot license when he rolls this 777 down the runway and flies this plane at 500 miles an hour. No, I don't want a pilot license. Not one here. Not me. I don't want it. But they give these people a badge and a gun and total immunity to murder, kill, and maim. And there used to be a time when you had to be in shape. You had to pass a physical to be a police officer. Now, all lard asses are welcomed. No problem. Because there used to be a time when they would run after you. Now, no need to run. Just stand there, lard, fat ass right there, and just shoot at you. And we've seen that a million times. That's what they do. I find no probable cause. No.
No, it's just he gets out of the car, and then it just the virtue of fact him getting out in the car is interfering with the duties. Really? No. Just when you get into, just.
And I love the tenderness he showed the brother too. Listen, just get it. Just be more careful. Like they're out to get you. Just take it easy.
Careful out there, man. Yes, life is hard as it is. Yes, when you get into.
I love that.
You gotta be careful, man. People always have to get you. Be nice. It's not hard. Things will go well for you,
I love that. I just love that. And it goes a long way to make this whole court appearance by this young brother less traumatizing. Less traumatizing. Because even in this shot, he's the only black face I see anyway. It's like Dr. King said, we want America to be who she says she is on paper. That's it. And so this video should be mandatory viewing for any and all judges and magistrates across the fucking country. That's it. But sadly, why this is even noteworthy is because it is the aberration. 99.99999% of all these fucking judges, black and white, that sit on these benches would have just gone along with the fucking lard-ass police and the whore slut prosecutor. And this brother would have been looking at some time and a fine. It just makes me sick, dude. It just makes me sick. Wow. So, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. And, yeah, share this video out, everybody. Yeah, share it out. And as I say, don't forget to subscribe if you're a new viewer. And also, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. I will see you soon. This is the Jedi.
Look, I got it. I'm with you, okay? Just hang tight with me for a second, okay? All right.
The judge threw out the case, and the video of Judge Fleischer admonishing prosecutors and showing compassion to Mr. McClain has gone viral.